Hi, I'm Vikram Gore and you're watching MotorScribes. Today on the show, I'm going to be talking about Citroen's next car for India. It's a hatchback that's got SUV styling, it's quirky, it's young, it's fresh, and it's known as the C3. Let's take a look at what the C3 is all about in this video. So starting with the design of the C3, I think Citroen has done more than a wonderful job in the way that it's turned out. You can see that all their design elements that they carry over from vehicle to vehicle have made their way over to the C3 as well. And to start with, you've got the beautiful sculpted hood. I think those grooves that run on both sides give it a nice sporty young appeal. The grille looks fantastic. Again, right up front you can see that they've done a fantastic job incorporating the whole Citroen logo right up there, something that we saw on the C5 as well. The lights, again, a fine touch. You've got your turn indicators up top and you've got your bulbs down here and fog lamps all the way at the bottom. Citroen does offer a lot of accessories, so you can really kit this car out and really make it your own by choosing through their accessory range, which incidentally you can do online through their portal, and you can customize the car, and when you show up at the dealership they will have that exact version for you. So I think that's an interesting touch and a little bit of trivia out there for Citroen for you. But going back to the design, as you move along to the sides, you can see that it's a nicely proportioned vehicle. It's small, it is a hatchback, it is coming out in that sort of Ignis punch sort of segment, and it rides on 15-inch wheels. You do get alloys on the higher end turbo model, but you've got these really cool wheel covers that you get on the regular aspirated engine model as well. At the rear, the tail lights I think are the highlight. The design, the way that they look is something that really stands out. And as a package, the Citroen C3 comes across as a hatchback with enough SUV styling cues to make it have its own persona. So when it comes to the cabin of the Citroen C3, I think again we can see that the layout is young, it's refreshing. Things that I like the most are the treatment to the AC vents. I think those little C's look awesome, and you also get this nice dash insert with polka dots, I guess, but you can choose different colors for that to match the exterior of your car, and that's part of the accessory package that you can choose with the Citroen C3. But looking at the cabin overall, I think it's a very well appointed cabin for a car of this class. The plastics, yes, they are a little plasticky, but again, we've seen a lot worse on other cars, so I'm not really going to complain about that. A definite highlight is the large touchscreen that you get on the C3, which gives you your Android Auto connectivity. It's got Bluetooth connectivity, it's got all of that for you, and that sort of sorts it out. So what I thought was a little too quirky for this day and age was the AC knobs. I think we've seen cars sort of transition and do a lot better now, but that's one little negative point that I found with the C3. Apart from that, the seats are really nice, the fabric feels great, looks great, and despite being a small car, I think overall space allocation has also been done pretty well. Even at the back, adults can be seated rather comfortably. There's more than enough headroom. Obviously, if you have a tall front passenger or a tall driver, you do lose out a little bit on the knee space, but then that's the story of every small car. The boot is also decent, can swallow up a couple of bags, and I think overall when you're looking at something that's purely mass market, Citroen has done an excellent job with the way that they've designed the cabin and allocated space within the cabin. Citroen is going to be offering the C3 with two engine variants. Both of them happen to be 1.2 liter petrol engines, but the difference is that one of them is running a turbo. So The base variant, which is the naturally aspirated version, makes 82 PS of power and 115 Newton meters of torque, and is paired with a 5-speed manual gearbox. Whereas the top variant gets the 1.2 liter turbo that makes 110 PS of power and 190 Newton meters of torque. That one's paired with a 6-speed manual transmission. Of course, the question here is, what about an automatic? But we've been told that that's part of the product life cycle. It's not coming out right now, but you can expect one in the near future. So what is the C3 like to drive? Well, as I mentioned, it's got 2 engine options. I've been driving both of them around here in Goa. And to start with the 1.2 naturally aspirated version with the 5-speed manual gearbox. Again, 82 PS of power is par for the course. It feels peppy enough up to 60 kilometers per hour. And obviously you do feel it running out of steam as you try and hit 3-digit or go a little past that number. But being a city car, being a city runaround, I think it's fantastic. It does the job, and it feels very prim and proper to drive around. Step into the 1.2 turbo, the story changes dramatically. And when I say dramatically, you feel it from the get-go. Step on the gas, it's so responsive. It's a little pocket rocket. It's a car that you really want to gun around and take around down a nice twisted road and just sort of throw it around the corners. Speaking of which, it handles really well. Steering input feels great. And I think mechanically, Citroen has done a wonderful job in the way that they've spec'd out the C3. It's great to drive, it's a fun car, and that is definitely a winning point for this car. So in terms of convenience features with the C3, what you do get is steering mounted controls on one side of the steering wheel. You can answer phone calls, you can play around with the volume for the music system and the infotainment system. You also get your USB charging ports up front and at the rear. And Citroen's again done a really nice touch where they've actually given you a little bit of plastic addition on the front console where you can actually wrap your wires around while you're charging your devices or using them, so they don't get wrapped around or look messy inside the cabin. Small little touch, but a very neat touch. So there you have it, the Citroen C3. It's a quirky little hatchback. It ticks all the right boxes. It's great in terms of overall space allocation. The 1.2 liter turbo is an absolute joy to drive. So you can clearly see that Citroen's done a lot of their homework and gotten it right. Of course, it comes down to the pricing. That's the holy grail for any car to have its success story written well in India. And I think that's something that we just have to look out for. But as a product, the Citroen C3 is a car that can win you over.